Hey everyone, happy Tiki Tuesday. It is another night of 13 Nights of Tiki Frights presented by The Search for Tiki and sponsored by Art of Scooter. Hey, Big Daddy's Bear Cave, good to see you. Barefoot Broker, uh, thank you for joining us as always. Taboo Relics, it's good to see you all. It is another night of 13 Nights of Tiki Frights, and as usual, we're giving away a mug. Tonight's mug is this fantastic Tiki Gorgon here by Shima Ceramics. It's absolutely massive, over 12 inches tall. Um, and obviously, it's kind of a riff on the Demogorgon. Dungeons and Dragons, Stranger Things, very cool mug. We're also talking to an incredible artist. You may have heard of him, Jeff Granito. Jeff Granito has over 2 decades of experience designing art for Disney, as well as designing cups, mugs, bags, popcorn buckets. You name it, he's probably done it. I don't know if I've seen him in here yet. We'll see. We can Jeff in.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm excellent, thank you.
Thank you for joining us, man.
My pleasure. Excuse me, I'm a little blurry. I just tried to clean the lens a little bit. Maybe I'm a little bit better.
Oh,
Maybe
no
it's
worries.
better to be a little bit blurry, in fact.
I was a couple minutes late because my tripod right at the end went
It's always the way, right?
always.
Live
Technology.
television.
You gotta love it.
How's it going?
It's good. I'm excited to talk to you.
Yeah,
And
we've never spoken. This is our first.
this is our first. Although I do feel like I know you a little bit after watching a 4-hour interview with Magical Tiki Meetups.
Wasn't that fun? That was so much fun.
That was fun. That's a lot of stamina, though.
No, it went. I was amazed how quickly it went. It was just like a good time, you know. I'm excited because they announced that the art festival is coming back. So hopefully, I'll be able to go out there and see them again and talk in real life and see everybody out there. And I'm hoping, you know, we'll see.
Fingers crossed. Because you're
Totally.
you're in Southern California,
I'm
correct?
in Southern California, yeah, and we're totally shut up here. So I barely have seen anybody since this whole thing began, and it is what it is.
It unfortunately doesn't sound like they're going to be opening anytime soon. So,
I don't think so. No, they're doing a thing where they're opening up Carthay Circle or just the entrance to California Adventure. So that's nice. You
yep,
can get your
the
foot
shops
in the
and stuff.
cart. The shops and I think restaurants. Yeah, so that'll be fun.
That'll be cool. Kind of
Yeah.
a loophole.
Well, they've done it in Knott's Berry Farm, and it's been super successful. And why not, right? Let
Yeah, why
people get
not?
in. Hopefully, they'll decorate it. We'll have some holiday decorations. Get a little bit of the taste of it,
A little sense of normalcy, and
Yeah, that'd be
people
nice.
need art, man. People need art so
I
bad.
know. Luckily, it's been great online and like calls like this. There has been some connections to be made, and it's been nice to see people have been able to keep up artwork, and people have been really supporting it. It's been nice.
I
Um,
think a lot of artists have kind of been handed an opportunity. If there is
absolutely,
a silver lining, to kind of, hey, these jumping off points that they never would have taken,
absolutely. Well,
you know.
for me, it's kind of forced because client work has really slowed down, and so I have no other option to kind of my side hustle has become my you know full-time gig. So never would have been able to do it. Never would have taken that time away from client work in order to do my own stuff. So that's been nice.
It's great though.
Yeah, it's been
Dude,
fun.
you've got an incredible brand. For
Oh,
someone
thank you.
that's just been doing their own art for what would you say, 4 years
Yeah, I think that's
around
pretty
there?
fair to say. Yeah,
Yeah. And I just saw your post today about the Christmas greeting cards.
yeah.
That is such a fun idea.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm thinking, I would like to get a little, make it a present. So it could be a present to yourself, and you could just hold to the card, or it's automatically you give the card, you write it out, make it personal, and then give a gift.
Yeah, and greeting cards are not cheap. So as far as a throw in, I mean, you go to like even if you go to Walmart or Target, you're gonna pay $4, $6 for a greeting card. So
Yeah, it's true. It's a smaller size. To be fair, it's like this big.
yep,
Um, so it will fit in the packages mostly. But yeah, it's just a fun way. I did new art for it. So there's 4 new pieces of art and just kind of a fun thing. It's been, I think, helpful to just kind of make things a little bit lighter, just little special stuff during this time. I think it's been fun for me, and I think it's good for guests as well. I say guests, but I'm like I'm in Disneyland. People who buy stuff,
people who buy
collectors.
stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Let's face it. There's probably a big crossover.
I think so. I mean, for sure. Most of my art, like you said, for doing my own art. I mean, the first time I did it was for Wunderground. They kind of forced me to do my own stuff, to sell my own stuff. So it definitely has been a launching off point for sure.
There is one thing in particular on your shop that I think is one of the coolest things I've seen pretty much in years, and that has got to be your swizzle sticks.
Oh yeah, thanks. That's
What is the story behind those?
the story behind those is that I've wanted to do them. I just feel like I've been into tiki that long. It's when I was on Wonderground, people saw my work and thought I was in tiki because it was kind of fit in that world a bit, and they kind of introduced me to it. But when I got into the tiki world, I just kind of felt like there was missing. I like color. Swizzle sticks, the plastic ones are like single color. The metal ones are like single color. So there was not like colorful swizzle sticks. So it took me a while to figure out how to get them made, but I finally did it. And I was doing pins, so it seemed like a natural fit. But actually,
Yep.
the bottom has to be stainless steel to be food grade, and the top is like plated nickel or something. So in order to get those things combined was harder than I thought. I had to go to China, and it took me literally 2 years to get them done.
They are so cool. I think they're so fitting for your art because your art, obviously you've done interviews with like in reference to Mary Blair
Yeah.
as an inspiration. Your art is so colorful and so bright. To put that on a single color swizzle stick would be sad.
Well, it just
And
didn't work, Like honestly, I just didn't. I did swizzle sticks for other people, for Disney, for other people, and it was always kind of like, it's cool because it's a swizzle stick, but it's just like missing color.
it's not you.
No, it was not me at all. No. So, and then it also gave me the opportunity to do both sides and to tell a story.
Yep.
Uh, the front. I actually have one. Um, so to say,
Yes.
here's, I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of dark. And then on the back had, what is it? Sante. So French. So, tiki bird. So I have the 4
Yep.
languages, you know. So that's
That
been
is
fun.
so great.
Yeah. It's always nice to get, you do it and then, oh, you have another side. So let's like tell the story some more.
And I also think it's kind of cool because there are at least two fanatical groups of Disney people. There may be more, but there's at least two. One of them, obviously, Tiki Mugs,
Yeah.
which we've discovered, and the other one is Disney pins.
Yeah.
People go nuts for those. And you've designed Disney pins
A
yourself.
long time.
Didn't you do the Tiki drummer, Raleigh
I
Crunk?
did, yeah. So when I started working for Disneyland as a freelance, it's always been freelancer. I had worked for them for maybe 2 years or so, and they came to me and they're like, "There's this strange thing that's happening on the East Coast, and it's really popular, and it's pin trading." I had never heard of it. They had never heard of it. They're like, "We're trying to bring it out here." So what we're going to do is we're going to make a pin map, and then we're going to make mini pins, and it's going to be like you collect them when you buy them, you stick them in. So I
Yep.
designed the first pin map for Disneyland when they started. I've been doing pins a long time. So to be honest, 100% honest, when it came to like doing my own pins, I've done a lot of pins. So I'm not like I wasn't like super excited to do pins again, but there was a demand for them, and so it's been fun to do my own stuff, but try to make it a little bit more exciting for myself, you know. So yeah, but pins are fun. Pins are fun, but when you do them, you know, just like you do something for your job, and when your
Yeah.
side hustle, you don't really want it to be like your job. So
I think I brought it up because I think you managed to find a way to make it new and creative in your swizzle sticks.
well,
From a
yeah,
design
well that's
perspective, it's
fine.
kind of the same, right?
Yeah, it's the same technology. I mean, it's the same process to make the top, um, but it's two-sided, which makes all the difference. So I get to like, you know, have those two sides and play with the difference. That's what made it fun. Yeah. So it's the same old thing, but on top of a stainless steel stick.
And on a similar note, okay, so we talk about swizzle sticks and how they're kind of limiting.
Yeah.
You're also obviously known lately, at least, for your Mai Tai glasses, which are fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Mai Tai glasses also are kind of limiting in terms of color.
Yes, but you know what? I love limited color, so I'm totally cool with it. Like
Yeah.
that's, and I love silk screening, so they combine like silk screening and limited color, and I'm totally cool with that. But it's limited color in that it could be bright colors. You just have to choose a couple of them, and then when
Hmm.
you do two, you get to choose an extra color. I don't know. I like that. So as long as there's a couple colors, I'm okay. Just a whoa, sorry, just a plain color swizzle stick. That's a different story. But a couple good colors is good.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Just
And the
a,
Mai
just
Tai
a few.
glasses, honestly, we were, I was doing like, I've been doing Mai Tai glasses for a while, but we never wanted to ship them because we were afraid they were going to break. So when COVID happened, we're like, well, we can't wait around for in-person events, so let's try shipping them. And I think, you know, that was nice because people finally got to buy them online. So I think that made them fun. Something not new, but new for people to buy online.
And they're so fun. So many of the tiki mugs that we show and that our fans collect and whatnot, they're called tiki mugs. They're not really because they're more pieces of art.
Yes, for
I
sure.
don't really feel that comfortable drinking out of a $300 mug.
I don't either. I'm drinking out of a Mai Tai glass. I
Yeah.
totally agree.
So every night when I'm drinking, it's the Mai Tai glasses that I'm using because it's a safe bet.
I totally agree.
You
And
know,
it's you can wash them, you put them in the dishwasher, you know. Probably not that's not to, but I do. And it's easy and they're nice glasses, you know. They're heavy and they're good quality and if they break, it's not breaking the bank.
it's still sad, but it's not earth shattering.
Exactly.
You don't fall on your knees crying,
No,
no.
no. I don't know if I've ever drinking that. I actually did buy some old um, I want to say cheap. Not none of them are cheap, but like some old timey tiki mugs, like you know, made in Japan. Those, and I drink out
Yep.
of those. So I'll drink out of the ones that I buy to drink out of, but not the art ones.
That's when the import mugs come in.
Yes, for
Like
sure.
my Trader Sam's Krakatoa mugs, Enchanted Tiki Bar Barrel,
Yeah,
those ones, that's where it's at.
I totally agree. And they're still fun. They do still do the right stuff, but you don't have to break them. But since I have a lot of Mai Tai glasses for lying around, that ends up what's happening.
That's another question I have for you. And it may not be as interesting to the viewers, I don't know, but it's certainly interesting to me. You have 17, I think 17 pages of merchandise on your store.
If you're asking me, I don't know.
You know, I just think like I have maybe four things on the search for Tiki,
Yeah.
and I already like I don't know what to do with stuff. Like you get 200 Mai Tai glasses in, and it's like, well, there goes my living room.
Well, pretty much. I mean, to be honest, we didn't have 17 pages when the pandemic started. I don't know how many we had, but I know we didn't have that much. But in another silver lining of the COVID is my kids came home from college, so we automatically had two full-time workers. So
That's the secret.
yeah, it is. We automatically got not entirely free labor, but you know, relatively cheap labor, and that really helped the business, to be honest, because all of a sudden we could like ship more, and we could um, not necessarily hold anymore. We live in a small like townhouse, so we couldn't necessarily hold anymore in the house. So we've been living among filth. But what are you going to do?
You
Our
got to do
garage
what
is
you got to
full. Our
do.
living room is full.
Yeah, I just it's so it can be so overwhelming with all the stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Well,
But
that's why I
where
never. That's why I didn't have so much when I was doing my bread and butter work all the time. I couldn't do it. But now, when I convert all the energy I did for clients into myself, I can do a lot more.
Mhm.
So that's
And
fun.
we are the ones that make out because we get to see all your fantastic art more frequently
Oh,
on a
thank
regular
you.
basis.
Yeah, no, it's been fun to share a lot more and do a lot more.
It's
Um,
it's got to be kind of cool too to actually see your finished product before it goes on sale. Does that ever drive you crazy?
um, I've gotten so used to it, and to be honest, it takes some of the onus off me. If I just see it on the shelf, there's nothing I can do about it. So
Okay.
now I do actually have to like get samples and make sure they're okay, and quality check, and color correct, and I do have to do all this stuff that I left that to everybody else before. So it's a little more pressure, but yeah, I mean, it is nice to get it out there. I'm kind of, I'm always pretty harsh on myself, so it's not as fun when somebody else does it, and I don't have to like blame myself for things that could be different. So that is
Yeah.
fun, but that's okay.
And I think that makes sense, you saying that, because it kind of goes back to your first project with Disney, doesn't it?
My bags,
Your bags.
yes, yeah,
For
that
those
was
that
a
don't
hard
know,
one.
what happened with the bags?
It was horrible. It was so horrible. It only, I mean, it would have been less horrible if everybody thought it was okay and it lasted longer than one day. But yeah, that was a good learning lesson. You know, you learn a lot when things go wrong. And yeah, there's been a lot of learning, let's say, these last couple months.
How did you first get your foot in the door at Disney?
um, I was doing some freelance work up at the stores in the studio. So
Hmm.
done I had touched some stuff up there as a freelancer. They were opening the ESPN store, and they needed a freelancer to come quick and finish a bunch of art. And so I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. So I did a bunch of product for opening the ESPN store. So I had a
Okay.
little bit of experience. Uh, I don't know when that opened. Sometime that year, Halloween comes up, and trick or treating, I happened to meet someone, the merchandise manager at Disneyland. We started talking, and she said, you know, what do you do? You're introducing, we were in a new neighborhood. And I said that I had just done the ESPN store. And she's like, oh, well, I need somebody at Disneyland. So she brought me in, and we had a meeting, and I started working. And to be honest, I've been working ever since. So, and you know, that was different times back then. Um, to be honest, at that time, I graduated from school in 94.
Yeah.
And it wasn't long after that that I started working at Disneyland. Those were not times when people wanted to be doing pop culture, like um,
Really?
anything that was like characters or licensing or um, like mass market was kind of frowned upon. And so when I graduated from school, you know, we had the NFL come to school, you know, to interview or to give us interviews, yeah, and Hallmark and a couple other places. And it was kind of like, you can't go to those places because that's just too mass market. Well, Disney is just about as mass market as you can get. And so at the time, I was excited to do it because I love Disneyland, but it wasn't so cool. So there wasn't a lot of competition, to be perfectly honest. Not There wasn't a lot of people wanting to do it. So
The times have certainly changed.
yeah, the times have changed. And you know, it's funny because we used to sit around in meetings and say, how can we make this Disney? How can we make it something that we can sell in the park, but not make it so Disney that people won't buy it? Because that's what it was like. In Disneyland, you had to like kind of hide in Disney in order to get people to buy it. And
That is the strangest thing.
yeah, so that's how I started. And it was kind of creatively, how do you do Disney creatively so that it's not, and I think at the time, and I think we call it dorking it up. I think that was like dorking it up was making it Disney. And so, character was,
Brutal.
yeah, it was strange, different times. So it's hard to imagine for people now, but that's kind of where I still come from. Like, how do you make it um, cool enough for somebody who doesn't want character? But there's very few people who don't want character now.
Almost none.
None. Yeah. No. Yeah. No. If
Until you go to renovate the Polynesian to make a Moana themed, and then everybody head pops off
right.
like a daisy.
No. Totally. And I think that's where my affinity towards like the light parade and those characters that you have in the park that weren't like film characters, that are exclusively park related, like the Orange
Yep.
Bird or um, Figment, those things that are specifically park oriented, those always kind of seem like fringe enough that it wasn't like mass market because you could only get it in the parks.
Yep.
And there is some sort of mystique or cachet about being from the parks. So you couldn't get it from Target or you couldn't get it from the Disney store at that time. And so I think that's where my affinity towards those traditional Haunted Mansion characters, Pirates characters, those aren't really, well, until they made movies out of those attractions, they were just exclusively park.
One time back in
Yeah,
the day.
back in the day, yeah, it was just in the parks.
Although I don't know if people would really count the Haunted Mansion movie. I I like the Haunted Mansion movie, but
Yeah, no, it wasn't exactly the same.
yeah, it wasn't the same.
No,
I
I
don't know
do
if you
like Meg
can.
Tilly though.
I don't know if you can answer this.
Okay.
I don't know what you're allowed to talk about with Disney and whatnot, but how does Disney approach letting another artist tackle their IP? Is it kind of like a push and go, or do they give you a lot of freedom?
I can only speak for myself,
Yep.
and until Wunderground happened, um, I never really saw them encouraging that. So when Wunderground happened, they were open to it. So, what was that, like 6 years ago or 7 years ago or something like that? Which
Yep.
is a relatively new idea. And they were pretty open about it. I mean, it's such a gray area. Like, the character? What's the essence of the character? So it's still, correct.
Yep.
Um, I think that may be the key word, getting the essence rather than exactly what they look like or exactly the scene or exactly it's the essence of the character. You wouldn't make um, in my example, you wouldn't make Alice in Wonderland look like she wasn't a child. Like if an adult Alice in Wonderland wouldn't necessarily work, or um, you can't put a character in modern times, even if you're
Okay.
stylizing them. So they still have to live in their world, and that's pretty basic stuff. You can do a lot just keeping some things in the parameters of
As long as
what
it's
the
true to
story
the
is.
character.
Yeah, as long as it's true to the character, the essence of the character, and that's pretty broad. You can do a lot with that.
With your art, which do you prefer? Villains or heroes?
Gosh, I don't know. Um, probably villains. I mean, I guess villains probably, but yeah, villains.
Villains. you, you started to question yourself, and you're like, nope,
Yeah, no, I guess
nope.
it's the
Let's be
villains.
real.
Yeah,
It's the villains.
yeah. To be perfectly honest, they're not as popular on their own, so I don't spend a lot of time, as much time on the villains. They're more popular together. So
Okay. Like, yeah, with a team of like 7 or 8 of them.
yeah, but it's nice at Wonderground. Except yes, I'm at Wonderground, and yes, I'm an artist in terms of getting to do my own style and getting to stretch the boundaries. But I've only been doing that for a couple of years. at heart, I'm still um, working for the park and making the characters and thinking about, what people like in a general sense rather than, the the little niche market that goes to Wunderground. I still do think in like what people like and
Yep.
what's true to the characters and what's true to the park. You can't get rid of that. So I think I bring a lot of that in. So when I go to do something, if I know that the villains aren't as popular, I may not do as many villains as might necessarily want to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I don't think I've ever seen your art is obviously a distinct style that differs from a lot of the Disney movies, but I have never seen a piece of art that you made that I did not feel was true to the characters
Oh,
and the
awesome.
Disney brand.
Oh, awesome.
So I think you've
That's
nailed
nice
that,
to
dude.
hear. Yeah, that's nice to hear. I respect the history of it. I respect all the people that have spent so much time to make it what it is, and I value it. So I appreciate that.
Everybody loves your stuff, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
You've mentioned Wonderground many times, and I
Yeah.
hate to be the downer, but obviously there was some sad news,
Yeah.
what, a month ago about Anaheim and Wonderground closing.
Yeah.
I don't know the details about why it closed.
Nor do I.
Um, do you think it's going to come back?
I hope so. I don't know. We haven't been told that it won't. Not that I know much about it, but it wasn't a hard goodbye. It was there's a store coming in and taking that place for now. So,
Okay.
do I hope it comes back? Absolutely. Do I think that probably anybody really knows at this point in time? Probably not. It's such everything's so up in the air, and you know,
So
it's
pretty much across the board. Yeah.
absolutely,
Who
yeah. And I
knows?
don't think anybody knows anything. I think it'd be tough. You'd be hard pressed to get anyone to give you a hard answer on anything. So I hope so.
What has um what has Wonderground meant to you as an artist? What does I mean, I go to Disney World, okay,
Hmm.
and people, you can be mad in the comments or whatever. I'm not the biggest fan of Disney Springs. Disney Springs, I have to walk 10 miles and then I have to wait 3 hours for the bus to show up. But every time I go to Disney World, I go to Disney Springs. And one of the reasons is because I love those art stores.
Hmm.
What is it about Wonderground that you think resonates with people so much?
Um, I think first of all, we have a different situation out here where you can go to Disneyland. A lot of people go to Disneyland like after work. It's
Yep.
relatively easy to get here. So getting to downtown Disney is just as easy as going to another, you know, entertainment district or, to the movies or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to go into Disneyland. So it's nice to be able to get that. And not just with Wonderground, but there's several Disney stores there. You get to kind of go into Disney, experience it without paying to get in. So that's the obvious. I think, second of all, I think you have a lot of people who are really interested versus when I started wanting to be a part of Disney. And, there's a lot of fan art and people want to embrace it and make it their own. And Wonderground kind of gives you an example of how you can make something your own. So I think it's very inspirational to young people. First, yes, collectors, but most of all, I feel like kids going in there, you don't have to go into the park and you're not like stressed to get onto a ride and like hard pressed to like fill your day. You can go in there and look around and kind of be inspired
Yep.
by artists that are relatively accessible because there's always an artist in there. Or a lot of times there is. Um, so I think to me, that's like the general appeal generally. For me personally, um, it means a lot more because that is the place where it forced me to sell my own art. And it is the place where the first time I sat down and worked in front of people and talked to those young people who come in and got to meet people that bought my art. And um, so for me personally, it was kind of like where what I'm doing now started.
Yep.
And without Wunderground, I don't think it would have happened. So on a personal level, it was very important. Um, and I think everybody gets something different out of it. But I know the best times for me are when I'm artist in resident and being out there. I don't think you have that, but I get to sit in there for a month every weekend, and my art lives in there for a month.
Yep.
My personal art, and my weekends I come in and I work and I talk with people coming in and out, and you just kind of, without the pressure of like a line for a signing or crowds, you get to kind of just talk with people, and because you're there over a month, you get to see the same people over a couple times. And I've been doing it long enough where I have people coming in they come in every year for the holiday, and I get to see them every year. And you kind of, get to know these people. They become friends, and um, you care about their family, and you get to see them, and you kind of grow up with them. And
Yeah.
it was really, really nice while it was there. And I'm disappointed. I was going to be there this holiday, and I've been looking forward to it all year. And that's the way it is.
It's such a bummer.
It is a bummer. I understand in terms of the company, and I understand the fiscal impact of what's going on, and having to do what you have to do, and I totally get it. So I don't blame them, but you know, if it doesn't come back, I enjoyed it while it lasted, and I know I got a lot out of it. I know a lot of other people got a lot out of it. So you can't begrudge a good couple years.
And it encouraged you to go out on your own, man.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not
You
like
you
what's
probably
happening.
wouldn't be, I mean, realistically, you probably wouldn't be on this video, right?
No, no,
If you hadn't
no,
participated in Wonderground. So that's
no. And
really cool in and of itself.
I probably wouldn't have found Tiki and all the
Okay.
people I've met, and just, a lot of stuff wouldn't have happened the same. So it was a integral part of my current life.
Well,
So
here's the hope, and it comes back, man.
yeah,
Because
absolutely.
Wonderground, man, so
But
many
you know
people
what?
love
It's
it.
still, I was happy to see that the arts festival's coming back. So, it's still living. It's still like there'll be a Wonderground tent in Epcot. So
Yep,
and there's still the location in Florida, so it's not like it's gone. It's just
on a
temporary.
hiatus.
Yeah, yeah.
It's taking a brief break.
And I think the idea will live no matter what it becomes. The idea of letting artists like take and stylize and make it their own and expand the brand and all the good things it does, it'll live whether it's in that location or not.
Yeah, and I think it definitely probably has shown Disney, for one, that it's okay to let artists take some of their IP and put their own spin on it. And artists can do it like yourself in a respectful way that people will love and want to buy and will grow Disney's brand, even if it's not
For sure.
their characters as they were drawn.
For sure. And I think that will eliminate what happened when I started, in that it was stricter. And, if you only if you don't let it grow, it gets stagnant, and then it's not so desirable anymore. So I think it'll help the brand stay relevant.
Yep.
So, and avoid that like time when it's not so great, when people don't care about it as much. So,
So obviously we're a Tiki channel. You mentioned how Wonderground kind of opened the doors for you to go to Tiki. You've designed a mug now. You designed a couple of mugs
yeah,
with Tiki Land Trading Company.
yeah.
How did you get involved with Tiki Land Trading Company?
Um, Through Tiki. Okay, so once I started selling my own art at Wonderground, then I had art. So I was like, I need to find another place to sell it. Or I don't need to, but I enjoyed it. So I found a couple shows, including Tiki shows, and Joel and Ann were customers
Okay.
of my booth at a couple shows. And when they started Tiki Land, which at the time I only thought was an event, they included me in their event,
Good.
and I just got to know them a little bit more. And when they created this Tiki Land brand mugs, um, they asked me to be a part of it. It's just serendipitous the same way everything else is, just kind of meeting people at the right time and the right place, and connecting and kind of having similar interests, and just working out.
Just putting yourself out there and some doors open.
Yeah, I
And
think they obviously had tiki, they love tiki. And I think what kind of helped is they started around the same time I did in terms of being part of the shows. They were starting to buy at the same time I was starting to sell. So, you have a connection
yeah,
with newness. If there's people who are joining at the same time, you kind of connect a little bit more. And I think that they had known me for Disney. I think they had known who I was through Disney, which they also appreciate. So, if you have shared common interests, Tiki, Disney, you tend to click with people who have the same interests.
it's one of those things, particularly I think Disney. As soon as you find out someone is a fan of Disney, it's like you're my best
Yeah,
friend.
totally. You have stuff in common, a lot of stuff in common. There's something about Disney that, it's not just the characters, it's like um, just kind of morals. I don't want to say morals. I don't know. There's something a little bit wholesome and a little bit broad-minded about Disney to me.
And I think the spirit of adventure,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Traveling to all these different countries through these animated movies, meeting all these characters from different time periods.
Yes, and
And it's,
creative. And creative people generally like it. And it's tough. I live in the suburbs out here in California. There's not a lot of creatives out here. So it's nice to be able to meet creative people, because I'm not meeting them in my day-to-day life. And I was meeting them at work, but to be honest, when I'm working with creative business people. So I don't get to meet a lot of creative artists, being a freelancer. So that's been nice too.
this is a complete tangent, but so when I was growing up, we went to an antique store.
Hmm.
And in the antique store was this wooden cat. And it looked kind of Asian, kind of tiki. I mean, I was probably 6. I didn't know what it was. And it kind of became a game in my household where the cat would move, but
Like
nobody would
Elf on the
move it.
Shelf,
Like Elf on the Shelf, before Elf on the Shelf existed. You go to open the laundry cabinet and there would be the cat.
which is a little frightening.
It is a little frightening. And we were particularly scared as kids because we didn't realize there was more than one of them. So we tried selling it in a yard sale and it went away. Someone bought it. And like the next day we were somewhere and we found another one.
That
And we were like, this
is
thing has come
great.
back to haunt us.
That is great. Don't tell me that my cat mug looks like this wooden mug.
It does.
Ah,
It
that is
does.
hilarious.
And so I have to ask I don't know if I'm pronouncing Hiwashiba?
Yeah, Hiva Shiba, yeah.
Hiwashiba? What is the inspiration of that?
Um, okay, so I'm going to go do my first tiki mug. This is and I'm I grew up going to Hawaii a lot, so my background is more Hawaiian than tiki per se. But when I was going to Hawaii all through my childhood, I loved to get what I didn't know the name at the time. Looking back now, I know they're called Coco Joes, and
Okay,
they're
yep.
black figurines, and they have rhinestone eyes, right? So I was thinking my first tiki mug, like, what do I want to do? And I never thought I was going to be doing a tiki mug. So at the time, I'm thinking my one and only tiki mug, um, it has to be, it has to harken back to a Coco Joe with the rhinestone eyes. So it was going to be black with the rhinestone eyes. And I was I was coming up. I was doing Midsummer Scream for the first time, and I was going to do. I was asked to do like the marketing art, and so I had done a black cat. So I was like, you know what, that makes sense. I'll do a cat for the show. I'll release that Midsummer Scream. I'll have the cat. It'll be a black cat, and so I'll do the rhinestone eyes. And when I was going to draw the cat, I in college I went to undergrad to study my major is history, which included mostly ancient history. So I have a lot
Yep.
of Egyptian things in my mind. So I think I just brought that Egyptian cat into like tiki, like just that's kind of where the little pieces of my mind all came together to come up with that.
It is so cool. It's a fantastic mug, and
Thank you.
it's double-sided, right? For people that
Yes.
don't know it.
Yes.
One
And
side is good luck,
yes.
and the
And the
other
other
is
side is
not
bad
so
luck.
fortunate.
Yeah. So the rhinestone eyes, which are, you know, kind of like they're not alarming to me because I love those little Coco Joes. But if the rhinestone eyes look kind of like scary on the black eyes, so that was the bad luck, and then the good luck is like a sweet, cute cat just smiling, and there's a little four-leaf clover hidden in there, and then the bad luck has a little 13 hidden in there. So there's little symbols in there, but yeah, it's just a collaboration of or putting together just things I like from all over.
It's so cool. Um, so it's got like a little tiki
He's
on the
wearing a
front.
little tiki on the bad luck side, so it's
Yep.
like a bad taboo, which Brady Bunch, you know, and on the back his collar has a little four-leaf clover.
I don't personally own one because I'm scared of it. Because of the story I told you before. I
Oh yeah, I don't
I think it
blame
would
you.
follow me around the house. But every time I see it, I'm like, man, I'm tempted to buy it. If I weren't so scared, I would totally own one of those mugs.
Wouldn't it be creepy if you opened the doors of your cabinets and there was one there?
Yeah, it would. It's one of those things from your childhood that just kind of sticks with you and still scares you.
I totally get it. That's like Fantasy Island to me. I'm still afraid, kind of like intrigued, and that was like so late on Saturdays, and I totally get it. Roddy McDowell, is that the name of the actor who played the devil in Fantasy Island? I still am afraid of that guy, so I kind of get it.
It sticks with you. But
Totally.
you said so you thought that was going to be your first mug, or let me rephrase. You thought that was going to be your only mug. It was your first mug. You thought it was going to be your only one. Turns out you made another mug, and it's kind
Yes,
of cool. It's a bowl,
it's a bowl.
and you had a whole line of stuff that came out with it.
Yeah, it was. Again, just kind of putting together things I like, and
Yeah,
I had a sticker that I did that I had in Wunderground actually last December, and it was the haunted float, or it was a woman's head in a crystal ball, but it happened to be like a Japanese float.
yep.
And you know, as soon as COVID happened, I'm like, you know what? I've always wanted to do more with that sticker, and so that was the first thing I did when I had extra time in COVID was do that piece of art. That was what's called haunted float, and so I did that, and I was asked to do another mug, and it just kind of came together. And at the
So
same
when you
time, I
made
was
that sticker, you didn't know that you were going to make an aloha shirt,
no,
a mug.
no, no. I knew I liked the idea. I knew I'd like to do more with it, but I just I'd never probably never would have done it had I not had some downtime. I don't usually have downtime. I can only do what I can do. And like when that sticker came out, it was Christmas time, and I'm sure I was worried about getting Christmas stuff done. I wasn't thinking about this random haunted float, and I had some time.
Do you think I mean, not if, when we eventually can move past 2020 into a new and brighter future, uh, how do you think client work will impact your work now? Are you going to go back to client work, or are you going to primarily focus on your side hustle now?
That's a good question. There's definitely client work that I would do. I would squeeze in, even if there's clients I'd like to work with. I don't care, it's not because I need that job, because I enjoy that job and I enjoy the people. So I would never get rid of client work altogether. But, to be honest, it's nice to not have to do client work for the people who I don't feel that way about. So, yeah, there's
No names will be mentioned, but
no, and you know what? A lot of times it doesn't even have to do with the person, or, you know, I've worked with companies that I've been super excited to work with, and maybe the direction just doesn't match, what I feel like the direction is, and so it's not as fun to work on. Um, and sometimes it's not a great company, but I love the people, and it's a mix of stuff. It's not particularly anything bad per se, it's just not a good fit for me, right? So,
do you have a favorite Disney movie?
favorite is hard because then you have to like choose one.
Yeah.
Um, no, I can't say I have a favorite Disney movie. There's definitely things I like.
Is
Um,
character easier? Would it be to say, do you have a favorite character? Is that
I
equally as
do,
hard?
and you know what? To be honest, it's Doug is my favorite character, and it's really mostly because I just love my dog so much, and he
Okay.
reminds me of my dog. So, of the traditional characters, Donald Duck for sure is, of the Fab Five, Donald Duck is my favorite. Um, I love the Aristocats in Jungle Book, um, and Pinocchio and Aladdin. From the different time periods, if I had to pick from the different time periods, like the Renaissance is probably Aladdin, and from the classics is probably Pinocchio, and from the 70s, my childhood, Aristocats and Jungle Book, and now, probably Pixar. When you like think about Disney movies now, Pixar, Ratatouille,
Okay.
and that a lot of that has to do with like the dog is my. In fact, you can see my dog right now. She looks a lot like Doug.
Oh, has she
Uh,
been there this whole time?
no, she actually just walked up. Um, Ratatouille, I spent a lot of time in France, and so that spoke to me. Um, and probably the same with Aristocats too, actually. Um, so yeah, it's just personal stuff. You know how you connect. It's probably not the best movies, but it's just what you connect to, right?
Yep. Well, I like my favorite Disney movie is not Pinocchio, but my favorite Disney character is Figaro.
Oh, really? That's interesting. Are you a cat person in general?
I am a cat person.
Yeah.
For anyone that watches this, you probably figured that out. I'm a pretty big cat person, but there's
Yeah,
something about Figaro just kind of like shimmying into the bed sheets
totally.
that is my favorite
And you
piece
know
of
what? As a
animation probably
dog
ever.
person, that's why my favorite cats are Cy and Am because, they're kind of evil cats. And so as a dog person, that's kind of plus it helps they have a rad song. I love that Cy and Am song.
You did a piece on
I
that,
did.
right?
I did. One of those things that's like, nobody I don't know if anybody will care or know who they are, but it was just fun to do.
It's one of those things where like I love them, but I'm almost scared to say that I love them now.
Totally. I know. It's totally not PC and but they're great.
They are. They really are. For all those people that hate me, I guess you can hate me or whatever, but those that is like so perfect. Man, it has been good talking to you.
You too. Thanks for having me on.
We're reaching the last uh, time that we have, if you will.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give away the mug, and if
Oh yeah. Which
anybody
which
has
which one are you
questions for
giving
Joe,
away?
so this one's nuts. It's Shima Ceramics.
Whoa.
He
Stranger
calls
Things
it the
on the
Tiki
top.
Gorgon. Yeah, Stranger
Wow.
Things. I don't know. I assume he's a fan of Stranger Things, but it's also I think a Dungeons and Dragons monster.
Oh,
But
okay.
it obviously looks like Stranger Things.
It does.
Ah, I don't
That
know if
is
it's the most
fantastic.
practical for drinking purposes, but
That
it
is
is
awesome.
massive.
That
It's a
is
foot
awesome.
tall.
So how do you choose who gets it?
So it's random. We look at the number of entries, and then we use a random number generator to pick a winner. And today's takes a second to load. Does anyone have questions for Jeff while I'm doing this? If you do, write them in the comments. It's your one opportunity for the immediate future.
Run Disney, yes.
Do you have, I just thought of a question. What is your next project?
You mean in terms of like what I'm working on?
Yeah.
Well, I have stuff. I have new Mai Tai glasses coming out tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
And
Are they Christmas themed?
no.
No?
You want to see them?
Okay.
You want to see
Yeah,
them?
I want to see them. What a rhetorical question.
You never know. It is birds.
Oh!
And there's two colorways. And it's a set with the swizzles. They match the swizzles. And coasters. They have double-sided coasters that match them.
Are those the bamboo coasters that you
Yes,
do?
they are. So I have some sets. So it's the 2 coasters, 2 glasses, 2 swizzles.
Man, those are so sick.
So that's fun. That's
How many colors are in those glasses?
funny that you should ask. There's 4 glasses. The 4 colors. I'm sorry. There's 4 colors in this glass. So normally we do 3, and this one I figured out a way to get 4 colors in 4 screens. And for those who don't know, when you do a color on a glass, it's one screen, and then you pay by the screen. So a lot of times, like when I did these glasses, there are 3 colors, but it's 6 screens because it's so intricate that you needed to do that. And we don't have time for this, but in order to make them that it looks like it wraps all the way around, you have to do gaps because the color doesn't go all the way around. There's leaves a 1/4 inch. And so you can see the gaps here. This gap, there's no orange or yellow here, and there's no brown or green here, but I stacked the gaps so that I could get 4 colors with 4 screens.
See, that is so cool to me. Oh, and anyone that does Mai Tai glasses, which, by the way, if you want to do Mai Tai glasses, I'm not paid by Culture Cove or South Pacific Promotions, but seriously, hit those guys up. They are fantastic.
Yes, they are great.
They're so great. But anyone who's done Mai Tai glasses and knows about the gaps, I think the first thing that we do when we see a new glass is we're like, where's that gap at?
Yes.
I need to know, and it's so cool how artists like yourself kind of sneak those gaps in.
It's like, it's the whole thing, really. I mean, it comes down to, it's the little things that I get to do on my own that nobody cares about, really. To be honest, nobody cares about those gaps except you and I. And you get a little challenge yourself, and I only have to answer to myself. So I get to kind of puzzle myself with how to make a double-sided coaster and how to make swizzles that have this on it. You know, it's like a game. It's like a puzzle.
I think, and I actually think it makes you more creative when you're given kind of like a framework that you have to work within, and now you have to figure out, how am I going to do this?
I agree.
I think it makes you more creative.
I agree. And it's fun. I mean, it's the same way. I like to do logos. I like the limitations. I like I said, I like the limited colors. I like to play with my limits and spend the time to make it solve the problem, really, right? So
Christopher Bonomo just commented the search for gap. I like that. That is probably a better representation of me as a person searching for people's Mai Tai glasses gap. And the search
Totally.
for Tiki is
Now we have it. Now we have a name for people like us,
the
right?
search, people like us. It's a search for gap.
Yes,
Trademark.
it is like the undercuts for mug makers. And see, that's the thing. It's like um, I'm making mugs, but like it's not. I design the art, and then somebody really talented makes it into a sculpt, and that's not my thing. So I can't. I appreciate that somebody's doing it for me because otherwise I wouldn't be able to do it. But I can't see all those things that you can and can't do. They've solved that, so it's not as like when I look at a mug, I don't look at it the same way as I do like something graphic. I'm looking
Yep.
for that kind of stuff. And with the mugs, I love them, but they're still a mystery to me. Like music, I can't imagine how. Well, sorry, that was my dog. I can't imagine how anybody writes music because I can't even fathom it. So it's still kind of fun. I don't have to like think about it. The mystery isn't ruined for me.
I love it, dude. I love it so much.
Well, thanks for having me on. Okay, so Christopher Bonomo.
What is he doing again?
He really wants to know who's going to win that mug, I think. Do you say now?
Yeah, I say now.
Okay.
Are you guys ready?
I think so.
The winner is, and after this, I will announce the next giveaway too. The winner is Jason Hodges. So congratulations, Jason. I don't know if you're watching, but kudos to you.
Congratulations, Jason.
You won that mug. The next interview we're doing, not that we don't love you, Jeff,
Yeah,
is
but done with me.
we're done with you.
You need the
Get
hook.
on. Move on to the next one. Is Frankie from Taboo Relics, who has also worked with Disney, and he's a mug designer, and he does incredible stuff. The giveaway is going to be a little bit different. We're getting towards the end, right? So we got to do it up. We got to do bigger and better giveaways. So we're giving away 3 mugs. It's going to go to 3 different people this time. So there are going to be 3 winners. So if you enter, you get 3 chances of winning a mug. The first is the
Nice.
green Hitchhiking Ghost mug.
Very
The
happy.
second is the red Hitchhiking Ghost mug.
Nice.
And the third, my personal favorite, is the blue one, which also happens to be, for the eBay people, the more expensive one. So whoever gets this one is the luckiest.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's going to be exciting. And man, I have so many more questions for you. I didn't even look at my question sheet because we just got talking. We'll have to do it again.
Yeah, awesome.
It's been a real pleasure, man.
Nice, very nice to talk with you, and thanks for having me again.
Thanks so much for joining us. And
good luck, everyone, on the mugs.
Yes, good luck. Have a good
Take
night.
care. You too.